one left. Becky, you'll have to refer to your report.
Yeah, I already looked today. So
Oh, okay.
You can have this one if you want. I mean,
I'm fine. I put mine down and you should look.
Okay, well,
That's all on mine.
first up, October statistics, 1,325 calls for service, 132 offense reports, 51 arrests, 23 accidents, and 72 citations. Overtime for the month was 11,401, and year to date, 104,716. Any questions?
Shows a steady drop.
Yeah, like I said last time, it's the guy in charge. He's doing a heck of a job.
who would that be?
Did we get to do it?
Oh, we're asked to do more for less every year, so we're getting used to it.
Anything else?
No, sir, that's it. But I see the fire chief coming.
Okay, as soon as he comes in, so someone make a motion to adjourn instead of second.
Guys, can I interject something about the event that happened in this room, kind of too? I took some pictures. I actually was part of the Halloween event, and that was my station right down there by you. I was the last one they saw before I went out the door. I didn't get to come show you this last week because I was down under, but anyway, I put them in black and white. I had some fun last night, and I just wanted to share those with you. These are pictures of people that were in our parking lot, in our grounds, and the way that these people decorated this joint. I'm telling you.
Joint.
I'm telling you, if we didn't get a boost to our city character that night, something's wrong, because that was so well received. And again, these are just in black and white. I took the color out. Of course, I had to put my grandson in here because he made his debut with his, but, and there's a couple other pictures back here, but actually, this is my son. He's in the Gravedigger, and here's Chief on the motorcycle before we finished that night. But my husband made a big deal for my son. So
Can we look at it while Mark's talking?
sure, I don't care. Pass it around.
Is he done already?
Already
Done.
You missed it.
Oh,
Got some more of that.
There aren't enough photos, huh?
you didn't get anything?
Wait a minute. Nope. Lynn's on vacation this week.
Well, I just got shipping capabilities this afternoon, so our server's been down.
How many you got?
I printed 9. Pass one over to them. I know. Here's that. Okay.
All right.
Isn't it a
Let's see
shame?
when we'll adjourn the police. Police department report is adjourned at 5:33.
Brief and concise as always.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Well, I've got a lot of talking to do to keep you guys here.
Motion to adjourn. Can you do that in the dark when we shut the lights off?
That's okay. I do my best work in the dark. You know, firefighters and
Oh, yeah.
search and rescue. But anyway, just sidebar. Dick, did you get a notice that LEPC was canceled?
Yes.
It's okay. Thank you. Okey-doke. October statistics. As you can see, 42 versus 38. Fire runs are down a little bit. 62, 384. EMS calls are down 138 versus EMS for the month, but 1635 versus 1551. Transports. This is about the lowest month I think we've ever had as far as transports at 69. And you can see overall transports are down a little bit. Mutual aids were down for the month. We gave 38, we got 15 in return. There's a breakdown. I have no legislative requests. I was getting ready to say when we first started, isn't it a shame we didn't have a fire levy on? Because everybody's school levy, everybody's fire levies passed flying colors. Just could have been a benefit. I'm sorry?
Hindsight's 20/20.
Under monthly expenses, you can see last year and last year's overtime versus similar circumstances. Overtime down a little bit compared to last year, down about what, 23,000 over this time last year. Equipment, I mentioned last month, and part of that 15 that you gave me, Medic 9, we're going to get some rear tires ordered to get them on. I'd hoped before the first snow, but we didn't make it, did we? Picked up the Polaris today, actually, and had it serviced. And of course, it's funny, you can have that thing sitting, and no sooner did I pull it down to the toy store to get it serviced, and they had a horseback rider kicked out off of Flint Ridge Road, been bucked off the horse, and was clear back in the woods, and Licking Township called our assistants to get them. They were back, I guess, a long haul, and they couldn't get a truck into them and all. So it was, never fails. And then we put 2 new air monitors into service, and I'm slowly phasing out some 80s vintage air monitors. And doesn't mean much. We've used Scientific Instrument for years, but we pay about $2,300 a piece for these, about $200 a sensor, times 4 sensors in them, and shoot, they've got them down now where they're carrying 3 and 4 year warranties on the sensors, and they're running $600-700 a piece. So they almost have become a throwaway deal. But we've got 2 brand new ones that went into service, and they get a lot of use. Just our monoxide calls, smelly gas and such. So anyway, 2 more here. I'm moving 1 over to station 2, and then after the first year, I'll with new money, I'll probably put an additional 2 in service and just completely phase out our older Scientific Instrument units. Warren McCord, we got back, and he's off again, re-injured. Mr. Stickrat, he actually was assisting in carrying him out of the residence, and as they were coming off.
Old man, Stickrat?
His shoulder popped a couple times, and they're hoping it just stretched and forced scar tissue. But he's off till at least the 20th of the month, and they'll reevaluate him. They gave him some medications and shots to reduce the stuff.
How many guys were calling him out? It's not a little bad. 4 guys?
No, there were several.
1 problem?
Whatever they had at the station at the time, I wasn't on the call. I know Earl and Warren, and there was 2 or 3 of them. So anyway, he actually is going to go on a 40-hour week for a while. We're going to do some finagling if the doctor will give him a light duty slip. We don't traditionally have light duty at the firehouse. However, with workers' comp and this and that, it can be an advantage to the city. By putting him on a 40-hour, and we're going to utilize him for some IT stuff that we're doing in these EMS,
Well,
not the billing as much as that EMS software. You know, we had a second meeting on that real recent with Eileen and the mayor and Warren and myself, and we pretty much several things came out of that. One of them is we are obligated to report to the state of Ohio per the Ohio Revised Code. So there was, Eileen had said we really didn't have to. I don't think courtesy does. However, it's different, apples and oranges, and we may not just lose our some of our checks, we could possibly put the city in a situation where maybe state funding in other areas could be affected.
So they're gonna be reporting EMS.
We will continue, you know, there was some debate, the mayor wanted to know, if we're only getting $2,500 in funding through EMS grants, and why are we spending $8,000, $9,000 actually is what we're paying, you know, a year for this software. So anyway, long story short, you know, we've got a report, but we kind of decided that we've got till April with this software per our contract, but we're looking elsewhere for other reporting systems that are going to be much more user-friendly. The mayor believes, as well as Warren and I, that this just has not been a good fit. We're just now getting some information and ways to tune this thing up that we should have had a long time ago, and it's just been a nightmare. They've been overcharging us on some of the runs to the tune of about $500. It should have been about $2.80 versus the $3.10.
The per call fee that we clarified, I mean, I missed the last meeting.
Right.
We confirmed that the per call fee.
We confirmed, and the mayor had signed a
Contractual
contract.
agreement, everything.
That was part of the original agreement that there was, based on, at the time, the example they gave was 1,700 EMS calls. And there was a price quote of $310 on that contract, but then there was some rebates and things, but it should have been about $2.80 a call, but it was still. And there's two different parts of this. So anyway, long story short, again, that we're just going to, while Warren is off, he's researching, we're checking some of the rest of the county. Eileen can use about anything that we acquire. There's gotta be something that's cheaper, that we're not paying monthly fees on some of this stuff. And, of course, that being said, we've just had a heck of a month as far as our server that I had repaired recently took another nosedive. So they finally got us up and running this afternoon about 3 o'clock. We've been without, so we haven't had emails and access to some of the run things. You know, we used to have 2 servers, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, we got a price quote on new server components and all. You know, we're talking probably $5,000. And some of you that understand computer stuff, you've got software systems that report, that's software for run reporting, but then you have operating software on these servers that allow them to read certain things. And our stuff is old fashioned, and some of this new stuff isn't going to be able to be read with the old. And they gave us a temporary fix on this server. So anyway, we're probably going to be purchasing something new in the very near future just to keep things going, server wise and hardware. But we're looking at another software product for EMS billing purposes and fire reporting. If I haven't got you confused, because I'm confused. But anyway, the wheels are in motion, and we're going to utilize Warren to research some of that while he's off.
How is this compatible with whatever the new vendor is to replace this outfit that we're getting overcharged? Did we get a credit back? I guess I missed the $2.80 versus the 3 something. Did we get a credit back for all the?
We were going to get, and we haven't as of yet, no. And some of that was going to be probably utilized in additional training. You know, we were supposed to have 25 hours of IT training and such. We didn't get that. And there was a lot of things that were left out. This just has not been a good, this company. But I can't give you a good answer on that right now. We're going to get something out of them, refund or whatever, because we still, until April, we'll still be utilizing this company. But it was decided the other day that there was no point in sending our people to additional training. We could limp through this or whatever. There's no point in making improvements. if
You got
don't
5 months
keep
left on
seeing
the
it.
contract that's been breached already by their side. It'd probably justify suspending payments until the
And
resolution.
Mayor Johns had said at the time, he thinks that the software would have been good with a much bigger city or whatever that could utilize all of its capabilities, but it just wasn't fine-tuned for a small operation such as ours, so.
Well, we didn't get much smaller after we signed the contract.
There were a lot of, we're just now being able to extract some things out of the software system after a phone call. And their own people are saying, gosh, no one ever showed you guys any of this stuff. And it's just a great sales pitch. And then after that, you know, we've had a lot of that over the years. You know, this is the fourth operating system since I've been around that we've been involved in. Good help's hard to find.
Just gotta dig a little bit.
Yeah. So anyway,
Does Eileen have an experience with another better vendor? I mean, she shows a lot of different fire departments, EMS, billing. Does she have a recommendation for us?
she
For us to
doesn't. She
consider?
really doesn't want to get involved in that. As far as she can utilize, and was familiar with this. This was a system that Warren was familiar with, that MedFlight uses. Upper Arlington loves it, but Upper Arlington had the money to buy the entire system. And then with that, and the server and having access to the entire system, they can custom program it to meet their needs versus we just get bits and pieces.
How soon do we start looking for a new vendor?
We are currently looking for, that started immediately after our meeting the other day, and polling the county departments to find out exactly what they're using. And also,
She won't give us a thumbs up or down if we throw three names.
she wants,
at
yeah,
her
Eileen
and
wants
say-
to be part of the selection.
We had a great rapport with her for 6, 7, 8 years.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I have nothing but great
Sure
things to
like
say
to
about her.
hear a blessing from her, or here's 5 names here, pick 3.
But I asked her the other day, you know, you can use just about any system, is that correct? And she said, oh yeah, we have the capability of whatever system we decide on, we can make it work. So, I mean, even if we went back to paper reports, we don't want to do that. Number 9 gets the tires, Polaris serviced, let's see, air monitors, McCord injured, the servers, as I said, the server is down again. It was, and now it's back as of today with a Band-Aid on it, and they were telling me that the
Temporary.
power switches, we have, and I'm not exactly sure how to correct this, I'm researching the systems, but we keep getting power spikes for some reason. Telephone system keeps going down, and that may end up being a bad surge protector. As simple as that. But when the systems go down, our phones go blank and we have no telephone system. You know, we computerized all the phones here at City Hall and citywide recently. My video camera DVR also got toasted as part of that, so it's out, and I've been sent back to the factory to see if it could be salvaged. And we usually just have to pull plugs and reboot things. And I'm not sure where the spike comes from, and we eliminated the switch over of the emergency generators and things that used to send a jolt through the station system. But, other than putting battery and surge protector devices on some of our phone lines and our fiber optics coming in. That's about the only other thing I can do on, but I think that's possibly what has happened to the server. You know, the last one we had 2 power supplies, both of them were fried. One may have gone down and then the second one went, but I just don't know. We've had a lot of electronic issues at the station here in recent months.
He's made an AEP call as well.
I have not made any calls. I don't know what to tell them. Yeah,
Just describe the situation. Is it transformation? I'm not an electrician. Cover all the bases.
you know, in past tense, we would have computers go down, the screens, we, you know, shut things off, like when you get a power surge at home, whatever. None of that's happening. It's just, I don't know. As I said, we fried radio, the other end of the building, radio elements. So anyway, we're investigating that also. My truck is at Matthews Ford, getting the engine, the intake manifold, which I guess is a plastic. One of Ford's better ideas is leaking. I'm getting antifreeze down in the, sitting on top of the engine, as well as down into the, what do they call them? The spark coil packs. And it's shorting out my spark plugs and things to the tune of probably $1,600 to $1,800 worth. I dropped it off 7 o'clock this morning. It's only got 83,000 miles on the engine, so, but it's a 10-year-old truck also. But, I believe that it was worth putting that kind of money in it, because I know nobody wants to buy a new right now. I pretty well beat up the EMS software update right now. We had, I've had 2 minor vehicle accidents since last we met. One Dave Love had Tower 10 on a mutual aid run to Newark and clipped down in the parking lot on Union Street and hit the boot on the back of Newark Township's ladders on their fire truck and popped them off, and they just mashed in a little bit of tread plate that I think we can pop out. You'll never know. They didn't even realize that they had hit the truck.
Ricky Township?
It was a Newark Township
Oh, no.
engine, and then I backed out of the station, and a side door had been left open, and I was negligent in not checking. I was there by myself. I wanted to turn the squad around. It was starting to rain, and hopped in real quick, opened the door from in the radio room, ran out, hopped in, and was turning back in the squad out, caught a door, just a side door that was open on backing out, stopped immediately, and all I did was pull there's a hydraulic plunger and just popped one side of that. There was no paint, there was no damage, but it still warranted. I had to get a replacement plunger and a drug test because it was a vehicle accident, and I require that of everybody else.
How'd you do?
I'm sorry? And I will probably get a written reprimand from the mayor on that, because that's what our people get. And we talked about that a little bit, so anyway. Fortunately, there wasn't a lot of, I'm sorry?
You didn't answer Jeff.
Deflected that one totally.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I did not. What did you
He
say?
wanted to know if you passed.
Just wondered how you
If
did.
I passed the,
What
How was your drug test?
better than TJ's. The,
Well, that's, boy, there's a
you know,
range.
that was, you know, it was fun. I went over, this was after company care had closed. I went over and they refused to give me a drug test. And they showed me right on the computer. It had to be by special request. And it was Licking Memorial, and it had to be for a DOT license. And he's like, is this for DOT? It's like, no, it's not. It's drug test because company care is closed, and I said, we're exempt from the DOT. And it's like, well, this has got to be a special request, and I reminded him, I am the fire chief, I think I can
Make
special
that
request that. And then I had to call a supervisor, and I said, yeah, go ahead and give him the test. It's like, Jesus.
He didn't consider you very special.
No, that's okay. So anyway, and last but not least, if you're in Bob Evans or you're going to see little signs, as I told the good family and such, I was approached a couple months ago by people at Bob Evans, and they asked if we would participate, if I would participate in helping them. Last year didn't play out like they hoped, and they just thought they'd give the fire department a chance to see if we'd come up with some names of people that needed Thanksgiving and Christmas meals. And so I contacted Heath School System, and I got a list of names and all, and wasn't quite sure how this was going to play out. Well, then I was in the other day, and they showed me little signs that they had for the cash registers, and it said Bob Evans in conjunction with the Heath Fire Department. Some of you may have already bought the little leaves and all that, but that's how they're paying for it. But Bob Evans, our association, myself, and we're kicking in some stuff, and there'll be at least a half a dozen Thanksgiving Day meal presented to some of our Heath families. And the same thing will happen Christmas time also. So I told him I don't want any media stuff, and this has to be discreet, to say the least. Whatever, I don't want anybody to be embarrassed, or it's just people down on their luck a little bit. So anyway, proud to be part of it, but you know as much about it as I do right now. I just still need to figure out how we're supposed to. I haven't just see the manager this morning. I heard the cook had called off because we had breakfast at Bob Evans this morning, and the cook had called off because of the weather, and the manager was back on the grill. That's probably why I couldn't make contact. But anyway.
The white death up today was too much for it.
Well, that's why it was funny to listen to him talking about, I came in from the country, I don't know why, a little bit of, yeah. So anyway.
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
This will be Thanksgiving and Christmas meals, and of course it feeds 6 to 8 people. You've seen the flyers and stuff. It's real nice, and as I said, I'm tickled to be part of that.
Very nice touch.
Yes. Thank you. And that is all I have. Any questions?
Questions for Chief?
Yes.
You're talking about the voltage coming in. AEP should be able to put a monitor on that, on your lines coming in, and see if there are indeed spikes, and if there is, then you can get filters that filter out, before the service equipment.
Okay. I'll give, Tim Ridenbaugh, he retired from AEP recently, but
That's
I'll give them
you got the terminology. That's good.
okay.
Nothing else for. Okay, well,
This is off.
adjourn it.
Yeah, that's time. Yeah.
But you know what? It's really 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
makes me feel better.
Yeah, but
They changed that time, but
we can do
our
better
bodies
than
do
this,
not
Tony.
change.
I was done too. I was done
Let's
2 minutes.
let's
He was
repeat
done in a
ourselves.
minute.
Do
We
it
need 2
again.
minutes. He was done in a minute.
You got dinner reservations a little later this evening, or what?
Yeah.
They got dinner, they're going to a dinner. Elk, aren't you going?
You going to the up?
I am, yes. Dinner waiting.
You're going, aren't you, Dave?
I am.
Have fun. What do you have to eat?